Imagine you move from a place where you lived all your life. Imagine you move and you leave all your children and wife. Starting all over again, but no one you know is around. Well, they didn't have to imagine. They built it up from the ground. How does it sound? Not easy because it isn't. Could have praised them, but it didn't. But the Ray Bond, that's a winner. And they ran straight to the finish. You get to know them up close and personal. Wait, just give me a minute. Welcome to the front row. Can I get a drum roll? Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's
Welcome
just
to the
bar,
Intentional
but still the
Immigrants
best of
podcast.
all.
I'm
We are
Shana.
intentional.
I'm your host, Yolanda Jack. I'm happy that you're able to join me here today. I want to give a shout out to my regular listeners, viewers, and readers. This channel exists to make your life just a little bit easier. Today we have with us Jay Falcone, and he will be talking to us about a book he has written, Fast Track to Prosperity, and he will also be talking to us about the upcoming financial literacy program that's hosted by the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo. All right, so here's to Jay. Hi, Jay. How are you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I am doing good. It's so good to connect with you again. So for those of us who are just joining for the first time, Jay has been on the program a couple of times. And since then, Jay has written a book all about financial literacy. So Jay has the expertise to tell us immigrants and others, of course, how to become more financially literate so that we can become empowered. Right? Okay, Jay, go ahead and tell us all about your book, which has traveled the world.
Yes. Okay. Well. Thanks. Thank you very much again for the opportunity to be on the show. Yeah. So, since last time that we chatted, I was able to write a book, and what we did was when I wrote the book, I wanted to write it from a perspective that anybody can pick it up. Anybody in the world can pick it up, regardless of education, regardless of income level. So whether someone is working part-time as a student or a professional, doesn't matter how much money they're making, that they can pick up the book and actually get something out of it. So that's the way it was written, and it was really based on my experiences in teaching financial literacy at the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo over the last 10 years. So it's really a summary of some of the things that we teach at that program, but also there's stories in there from actual students that have gone through the program. Which is really good. So, and in fact, if you get a copy of the book, you'll see that there's a review from yourself, Yolanda, on the book. I really appreciate that because you attended the program. So the book is worth it just for you to see Yolanda's review there.
Thanks for including me in your book, Jay. It's a good book, because it does teach you about all that you need to know about financial literacy. How can you move from where you are to where you want to be? And that's the aim of the book, for you to become more financially literate so that you can make good decisions that will help in your own prosperity. So Jay, you mentioned about the Multicultural Association Financial Literacy Program. You have an upcoming one, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, so we have an upcoming program. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the book, so it's just people get an idea of what's in the book.
Sure.
And then I'll talk a little bit about the financial literacy program. So, I've kind of set it up in three parts. Okay. So the Fast Track to Prosperity system that I've set up is pause, plan, and prosper. So let me talk a little bit about each one of those areas when it comes to financial knowledge and being successful. So you ever if you're driving or you're walking and you get lost, right? So what do? You don't just go in any direction. What you want to do is you want to pause. You want to pause and you want to take, inventory of where you're at, right? You want to know you want to be able to just say, okay, don't panic. I'm going to get to where I want to get to. So really the first part of the book, and I think it's probably the most important part of the book, is around the pausing. And in this part of the book, what I get people to do is to help them define their values around money. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Like, all of us come with certain values around money, and it's really framed from our upbringing, from our parents. It's framed from our friends. Sometimes, the people that we hang around with have an influence on our financial values. Our spouses, our partner, right? It could, again, could have a positive or negative influence on your values. And then, of course, our experiences that we have, right? And what I want you to do during that section is to just pause and think about that, because when you understand your values, you're more cognizant of them, and they help you make better decisions financially. And those values, I get people to think about their financial goals. Okay, so based on your values, so for example, if you're a conservative person when it comes to financial values, which is nothing wrong with that will determine what kind of investments you get into. That will determine how much credit you want to get. Those types, right? So what we do is we help you define your financial values, which then help you create your personal financial goals. And just like I said, when you get lost, you want to know where you are. In this first part of the book, I talk to you about how to measure where you are today financially. How do you do that? Now, when you go to the bank and get a loan or something like that, they do a quick calculation, but I get into a little bit more detail about, how to determine where you are today, because what you want to do is measure at some point in time, in the future, so that you can see your progress. Okay. So that's stage one, is pause, stay where you are. Stage two is what I call the planning phase. So when you're lost, you pause and you plan. Okay, what do I have? My GPS? Do I have do I have Siri? Do I have a map? Do I need to talk to somebody? That's planning section of the book. And what is here is more around how to control your money. Because if you don't control your money, you're not going to have enough money to invest so that you can prosper. And what I talk about, this is more like a budgeting technique, but I don't want people to be scared of the word budget, because people think of budget, we're going to count every penny, things like that. But that's not what this method is about. Are a lot of apps out there that you can track your money, but it's something that I've come up with of a way to, understand the money that's coming in, and then saying, okay, what kind of expenses do I have that are fixed, which means that they don't change. It could be your mortgage, it could be a car payment. Okay, that's one set of expenses. Then we have also what I call important expenses, which are things like paying down debt. You want to do that. Then I get into emergency fund, and the reason why I get people that I coach to have an emergency fund is because people get into debt because life happens, something comes up, the car breaks down, the furnace, especially with the cold weather we've been having, could break down, and people don't have money. So what do? They get into debt. So we help you set up an emergency fund, even a little bit every month, to get you to a certain level. Okay. And then we say, okay, put some money away for retirement, because we want you to save for the future. So once you've taken care of that, you're going to have some money left over. And that's the money that you can use to spend the way you want. So if month you want to go out a little bit more for dinner, you can do that as long as it's within that spending margin. Okay. If you want to spend it on something else, you can do that too. But I want to get away from the budgeting where it says you can't do this, you can't do that. It's more about calculating that spending margin, which is okay every month, and then allowing you to spend it every way. So that's what I call the planning process. Okay.
Yeah, so
because
there's pause. There's pause first.
There's pause.
And
then there's
planning.
Okay. And then the third part is prospering finally. So what we do there is how do you make that money that you've saved go further? So, credit. Credit is good to have because you're going to need credit to buy big items like a home or a car. What kind of debt to get into, and then what kind of long-term investments should you get into so that you can actually prosper. Okay, so that's the way the book is written. It gives people a lot of ideas. I tell people up front in the book, hey, listen, this isn't anything new. It's not rocket science. But sometimes we need to hear things over and over again. I know I do. I've read these things over and over the years. And finally, it kind of sticks and you do it. So exactly. Yeah. The book is not complicated. Like I said, anybody should be able to pick it up and get something out of it by taking that 3-step process to prospering. Okay.
Okay, because you don't know everything, and as you said, hearing it again, you probably hear it in a different way. So you knew it all along, but sometimes when you hear it in a new way, a different way, that lets the light bulb come on, and you say, "Oh, that's what I need to do."
Yeah, because sometimes we need to hear things over and over again.
Yeah.
And we dismiss it, but so that's why I say it's not complicated. It's a method. There's not a lot of statistics in there. There's it's anyone can take the process, pause, plan, and finally you prosper. And really that's the method that I've been using to teach the financial literacy program that we've been having at the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo for about the last 10 years. And Yolanda, we've had about over 600 students come through that program. And many of them, because we set it up initially because of newcomers to Canada, because they've come from all over the world. And, they may have a concept of things financially in the country that they're from, but being in Canada, there's different tax laws, for example. There's a different banking system that maybe where they came from. They need to understand those type of things. They need to understand investments. So the program was set up to help really newcomers, but we've had people, even Canadians, come to the program. We've had high school students. And that's really what we teach in the program. So we're doing another offering this year. We've been offering it once or twice a year, and now we're doing it once a year. And we'll be offering it again starting February 13th. So we have 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is more of the basics. But when I talk about basics, I don't want people to think of that, well, it's going to be very basic information, and I probably know it, okay? Because what we found is, again, that individuals, even Canadians, don't understand a lot of the things that we talk about, like, for example, taxes. It's those things that, it's good to understand just some of the basics. So, for example, in level 1, we talk about banking. What kind of bank accounts should you have? Do you understand the banking fees you're paying? And then we talk about budgeting, okay? A little bit about the plan section of the book. And then we talk about credit. You may be coming from another country where your credit rating there doesn't matter here in Canada. You have to build credit here for you to borrow money from a bank, a lender. So we talk about credit, how to read a credit report, those type of things. Then we get into income taxes, like I was talking about. And that's the class that most students say that they learn the most from. Because if you think about it, Yolanda, your biggest expense, if you're working or self-employed, is not your mortgage or your rent. It's actually your taxes in Canada.
That's true.
So if you don't understand at least some basics about how you can reduce that tax bill, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table that could be yours. From income tax, we go to insurance, the importance of insurance. Then we talk about investments, just general investments, and finally, government-sponsored programs. So that's level 1. Level 2 is a little bit more detailed. So level 2, we get into investments more of a in-depth. So things like determining your net worth. Your net worth is financially, where are you today? We talk about how to pick stocks. People always want to understand how to pick stocks. So we have a whole lesson on picking stocks. Then we talk about how to invest in private deals. So if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I've got an investment opportunity, first of all, you want to make sure there's not a scam. So how can you evaluate that? Because there is money to be made by investing in investments that aren't necessarily traded on the stock exchange. Then we talk about real estate, how to get involved in real estate, how to invest in real estate. Then we talk about how to make money on the internet and network marketing. And finally, we started talking about cryptocurrencies because a lot of people over the last few years have been asking questions about Bitcoin and things like that. So, we talk a little bit about that. So that's level 2. It's more detail. So again, we try to encourage people to take level 1 before level 2. But if you feel that, you don't need level 1, you can just take level 2. Now, in the course, we do have homework, right? And the reason for the homework is not so I can spend some time marking papers, but it's really intended to, ensure that you understand the concepts that we're teaching, right? The homework is not very hard, but it does take some time. So, because a lot of people say, can I do level 1 and level 2 at the same time? You can, but then you're going to have twice as much homework. So be careful with that. But the assignments are pretty simple, but they're intended to help you understand the content of the lesson that we're taking. Because we do go every week, one lesson, and we go, fairly quickly, but, there's an opportunity to ask questions. We learn a lot from each other because there's people in the room, again, that come from all over the world. There's people that have lived in the community too. And we learn from experiences from each other. So that's a little bit about the program. And again, we're offering it February 13th and 14th. And, we want people to come out because, it has been a successful program. Individuals that have, completed the program always give us good feedback about what they've learned. And I always ask people to rate their level of financial literacy. So how much do they know about finances when they start the program versus the end? And there's always an increase in that financial literacy knowledge, which is really good to see.
That's good. When does the program end, Jay? February 15th to April?
Yeah, so the level 1 goes from February 13th to April 2nd. And level 2 goes 10 weeks. It goes from February 14th to April 17th. Okay. And it's at Keano College. It's in the evening from 7 to 9. So it's 2 hours. And then if you complete the program, we also, in the program, there's a copy of the book, which is valued at about $30 or worth a lot more if you get something out of it. But yeah, so you get a free copy of the book, you get all that instruction, and it's $30 for the course for MCA members and $40 for non-MCA members. And again, everyone that's taken the course said that it's worth more than that in terms of cost, because of the value that they get, right?
Yeah. So MCA meaning Multicultural Association. So you don't have to be an immigrant to attend this program. This program is for everyone. Once you use money, the program is for you.
That's right. And in fact, we have, like I said, we've had some high school students come. We've had some parents bring their high school students, which is the best thing that you can do for your children when it comes to financial education, because let's face it, we're not teaching financial literacy in schools, right? Well, you want your kids to have a good understanding, which is another reason you as parents should take the program. So we've had parents come with their children. We've had couples come together, which is really a good idea, because one of the things that sometimes happens in a partnership is that you don't have the same financial values or knowledge. So it's a great idea. We've had couples come and they've learned a lot from that. So, and again, regardless of your education level, we do ask that, you have a good understanding of English. I try to teach, I use adult learning techniques. We go very slow. There's a lot of time for questions, but you should have just a basic knowledge of English, and just be ready to learn. And I guarantee you that you will learn a lot from taking the course.
I can guarantee that as well, having gone through the program myself. All right,
yes.
So I do have a copy of the book for anybody, especially for persons in the Wood Buffalo area, because we are gearing this episode to those persons who are in the Wood Buffalo area. And if you are able to write and tell me why you should get a copy of the book and how the book can help you, then I will be able to send you a copy of the book. Again, the name of the book is Fast Track to Prosperity, Your Guide to Financial Independence. Okay. So Jay, in addition to teaching the program, what's your background? Can you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of what makes you qualified to talk about financial literacy?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. A lot of people kind of ask that. So this is what I tell people. I've got a business background. I went to university. I studied accounting. Accounting is my profession. I've also master's degree in business and MBA. But I tell people, even with that, okay, you might, this guy knows a lot about, finances and that, but it really didn't teach me about personal financial things. It taught me a profession, how to go out and get a job so I can be an accountant. Right. It taught me, so my point being, the reason I can teach this is because I've got 40 to 45 years of experience of making financial.
Lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So my book is really a story. I got stories from when I was growing up, even as a young kid, all the way up to university, and then as an adult, about things that I've done, mistakes that I've made, how you can learn from that. So again, the book is not because I'm a financial expert, but it's because, I've had real life experiences, just like a lot of people that come through the program have. And that, I think, what makes the book relatable, and that people that have read it, I think I may have said that, we released the book in 14 countries. It went #1 international bestseller in 12 out of those 14 countries. in English still, but we're going to actually translate it into a few different languages. But the reason why I think it's been successful is that it touches people where they're at financially. People can relate to making mistakes. And one of the things that I have in the book, and I have a whole chapter devoted to this, is this whole thing about money shaming. How, you know, we make financial mistakes. All of us have made them. And sometimes it causes us not to learn from that, but to stop us from going ahead from that. You know, we don't forgive ourselves. So the book is not about money shaming. It's really about getting past that and making good financial choices so that we can become financially successful and prosperous.
Okay. Oh, good to talk with you, Jay. And it's a good program. It's a very good program for those who are listening. Just make the sacrifice, 2 hours each week, and you will come away with a wealth of knowledge, something that goes far beyond the money that you're spending on the course or on the book. All right. Jay, how can they register? So somebody wants to register. How do they go about registering for this program?
Yeah, no, good question. So first of all, I would suggest that you do it very quickly because classes do fill up. We can only accommodate typically, 20 to 25 people a class, and they get filled up. But what they can do is they can go to the website, the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo, and there's 2 spots to register. One is for level 1, one is for level 2, and to do that very quickly, because again, the classes are going to be starting here in mid-February, and you'll want to register. You'll get a copy of lesson notes that you can make notes on too, and you can have that binder as a reference too. So it's worth doing that. So I suggest that again you go to that website, the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo, and maybe Yolanda, if you can just add it to the podcast so they can get to it.
Yes, I'll add it at the bottom. So it's going to be in the link below, the description below. You'll find the link where you can go to register for the course, sign up for it. And of course, this is just basically 7-8 weeks of your life. And it's going to be a life transforming 8 weeks.
Yes, I guarantee it. Like I said, everyone that's gone through the program have just had really good experiences with it, and they've learned a lot, and that's the whole name of the game when it comes to financial literacy. And like I said earlier, I think one of the good things about it is that if you can get a little bit more financial knowledge, it's also something important to pass on to your kids, because our kids are watching us all the time when it comes to values, and because getting into it in the schools, it's good for them to get good financial knowledge and skills from their parents from home.
Yes, because it prevents them from making some unnecessary mistakes that sometimes they can't come back from.
That's right.
Okay. All right, Jay. All right. Is there a way people can make contact with you, or just through the Multicultural Association?
Yeah, just through the Multicultural Association. But one of the things that I do in the program, I make myself available during the program or after the program. People call me with the questions on the assignments and things like that, and they'll have my email, my LinkedIn, and they can keep in contact with me too if they ever want to talk about any financial matters.
Okay, thanks, Jay. And thanks for offering this program.
You're welcome. We hope to see some folks out to this year's offering.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sure the numbers are going to increase, because the knowledge is worthwhile having.
It certainly is.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Yolanda.
If you have not already done so, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, and Podbean. There's also an Instagram account. Feel free to email me at intentionalimmigrants@gmail.com and tell me why you think you should get a copy of the book and how it will be able to help you. So send me that information and I'll be happy to pass along a copy of the book for you. I have one copy to give away. Okay? So thank you to Jay Falcone for providing information to us today. Thank you to Xavier Anderson for providing music. As always, I'm your host, Yolanda Jack, reminding you, he who watches the wind will not sow. He who watches the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11 and verse 4. You were born for greatness. Step out into your greatness so that mankind can benefit from you being here. So long, until next time.
Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional.